Well, g'day. It is another beautiful evening here in Korakai. That is indeed Venus, which is in the west, as you can see. The sun has set. It's actually set sometime where the moon is almost half full, as you can not see because I can't find it. There it is. Believe it or not, that's about half full. If it was exactly half full, it would be about there overhead like that. Oh, yeah, maybe it's pretty close to half full actually. The planet is twisted and turned so much on its axis, this 23.4 degree tilt stuff does my head in. Anyway, what I thought I might do tonight is get out of this cold, because it's bloody freezing and I can't see what I'm doing, and just come into the bathroom. Oh, I can see here this light. And it's that time of the month again, you know how it is. Yes. Some people have this thing they got to do, and the thing I got to do is sit down in the bathroom. No, not that. Though I guess I could understand why you might think that. I wonder if there's any way of tilting the camera. Maybe the toothpaste can center it a little bit better for me. I can push into it a bit. Yeah, how's that? Now you can almost see my entire beard. It's sorry for my seat crackling. It's just getting used to my weight, I guess. Anyway, so thanks for sitting down and watching another rant from the crazy dude called Iron Horse. Of course, this will involve a lot of beer, so prepare ahead. If you feel like drinking, have a drink. If you don't, then don't. Hey, don't be judgmental. But anyway, I'm here to actually bottle some beer, and that's going to be a bit of a problem, I think. What I might do is just bottle a dozen at a time and then cap them, and I'll pause while I'm capping, because if I start capping, the cap is right there, and it's going to make a lot of noise, especially for people that listen in headphones, which I don't do, but already not off to a good start. I should have tested this, but oh, it's bubbly. I'll give it that. It's not meant to be that bubbly yet. I only just mixed the sugar syrup into it, which for all you home brewers who are looking for shortcuts all the time, you know how you put like a tablet or 2 tablets of sugar or teaspoons, however you measure it out, into your bottle and then bottle it. Here's a little trick for you. Measure out how much sugar you'd need for the entire literage of your beer you're gonna bottle, dissolve it in hot water and mix it into the canister first and then bottle it. Just thought I'd let you know that one, because I really should look at that head in yet to be bottle fermented beer. That's not a good sign. These might get explosive. Anyway, I'll cap one just to see what happens. If I can even get it in. It's always a problem, isn't it? For some brewers anyway, getting it in. Okay, so it is what it is. I should have brought a sample glass. What I'll do is just pause for 1 second, go get a sample glass, and I'll be before you even know I'm gone. But you didn't even know I was gone, did you? Because I have the power of the pause button. Winning. I can edit videos by pausing, coming back. Technology, man, I'm on top of it. So for my sample glass, unfortunately, it looked a little bit dirty, so I thought I'd sterilise it, because as any good brewer knows, best way to sterilise something is with alcohol. So, cheers. Ah, it's too nice to scull. I love it. Cheers again. Oh, best single malt scotch you can get. Oh. And now, of course, because the sample glass has been tainted with Glenfiddich, we'll have to rinse the glass out with beer before we know what it tastes like. It's almost good enough to drink straight off the tap. Oh man, this one's going to be a good one by the time I bottle it. And yeah, that's. Oh, hang on. It could be the. And for anybody who's taken me seriously so far, shouldn't do that. Like an iron horse, man. Come on. Getting a bit of a buzz, actually. It's got nothing to do with a couple of bongs I had before, because I don't normally smoke bongs anymore. I haven't really done it in years and years. But today I felt like it, and damn it, I need to score some more good gear, because that old crappy stuff I had, it's not as good as you'd expect for somebody who was used to back in his day of having the odd little toke of some good stuff. Okay, bongs. Yeah, I was always into bongs. I think that's probably why my throat is so doesn't agree with me today if I decide to have a smoke of anything. It's like the next day my throat feels a bit sore and yucky. Yeah, a bit yucky. Such a beautiful word, isn't it? Yucky. Yucky. You're with a beer. So yeah, I'm surprised. It's got little bubbles on the side of the glass even. Will they show up on camera or not? I do not know, but there are in fact little bubbles on the side. There we go. And that's unusual for a beer it's actually been fermenting in the keg for 2 weeks, but because the temperature's dropped so much, it's slowed it right down, which has kind of made it ready to drink, I guess. I mean, that's why you add extra sugar in the bottling process, so that you get the carbonation inside the bottle by having the cap on it, as we all know, because every flat earther knows that air pressure requires a container, and when you contain those gases, it pushes them back into the beer to give it bubbles. That's the natural fermentation process of beer. They bastardise it in tap beer these days by just putting carbon dioxide into the tap as they're pouring it, which I think is a bit of a crime myself. That's why I'm a bottle fermenter person. Bottle fermented is the way for me. People that like their kegs, hey, nothing wrong with that. Do what you gotta do, man. But hey. That is a very, very, very drinkable beer. I'm very happy with that. I shall proceed to bottle many of them. Oh, man. Oh, fuck's sake. I thought I'd sorted out that problem in advance. In advance for people that speak normal English. Fuck's sake. I can't get the pourer to stay inside the tap. It's a very, very, very sad situation, because I stayed up late last night with a candle burning, melting the plastic and jamming it up in there so that it would be moulded and set. And mess as well. Anyway, that's brewing for you. Hey. Nobody makes omelettes without cracking a few eggs. Man, I came here to make a few rants and stuff. I had a few things on my mind I was actually going to talk about, but maybe if I pause it again, just pressing unpause for a second while I deal with this emergency situation. We will be back in the due course of time, perhaps. Okay, because we're doing this for science, I just found a whole new proboscis. I think that's a good word for the long tube that comes out. Oh, I'd show you a picture of it, but you know, we can't give away all our secrets, can we? Oh, what the heck. I can't see what I'm showing anyway, but that's what it is. That thing that keeps falling out of the tap. Gonna get a different tap. That's the new keg. We're leaving it up here in Karakai today. So let me just see if I can adjust that camera again, because you know that's why I didn't want to upset the status quo. Ooh, now we've got a better angle of the bathroom. So I take my shower in the morning in the spa bath. And then that spa bath don't work, of course. That's why I rent here, because that spa bath worked, mate. It's like my old place I lived in. Well, at least we tested that one out before we even opened the tap. It's not going to work either. The tap does not work on its own. I think I might have to get some fucking super glue. It's just not going to work. The other option is we can use a siphon, I guess. We can do that. In which case I have to put this bit back on the end of this bit. Because that stops the siphon and starts it again. But then I have to use two hands, and how am I supposed to drink and bottle beer and rant at the same time? This is just, there's something wrong in the ether. You see how if you hold your finger on the A and it blends into the E and it makes the ether sound. It's like Aesop's fables, actually. That's one of the things I was going to rant about, but I want to be productive while I'm ranting. I can't just sit here and rant and not be productive. It just seems like that would be something that Aesop would not do. He would just be like, make hay while they run. You fucking hammered that one, didn't you? Make hay while the rain shines is what I tried to say, because I thought that using a paradox would be funny, but it's actually not. It's stupid. Damn it, I might have to get flame back on it and melt it back in again. See how that goes. If I open the tap just a little. It's kind of sealed, it's not perfect. There's the half-filled one we got already. Let's try it and see what happens. Very, very careful. Oh, we're making beer. Two! Fuck, it fell out again. Fucking hell. Two! Yes, two. Always look on the bright side of life. Okay. I think it's the tap. I think I'm just going to have to invest in a better tap. That one's shit. Yeah. You know how long I waited to get that tap? Stainless steel delivered in the mail, and the stainless steel container and all the good stuff, man. And it's still shite. They deliberately make everything shite because they don't want the common man to be able to brew his own beer at a reasonable cost, as opposed to the unreasonable Schreitmeisters who run it all. Fuck it, I might as well just put a glass straight on it and drink it from that. It's pretty darn good. Damn it. So anyway, back to Aesop's fables. When I was a young lad, doesn't every stupid story start with? Back when I was a kid, back in my day, when I was just young, blah blah de blah. But yeah, Aesop's fables, to be honest, whether or not this Aesop guy existed, I've been sometimes wondering, did he? Or is he another Eratosthenes? Now say that right, please. Eratosthenes. I'm so sick of hearing flat earthers saying Aristophanes or something stupid like that. It's like saying firmament and the firmament. Eratosthenes. The way we say a word is important, and it does reflect upon your intelligence. I'm not trying to say, hey, like I'm the greatest mind that ever existed, even though I'm in contention, I'm not trying to say that. I just let actions speak for themselves. But far out, man. Eratosthenes. Aesop's, it's up for that's up for debate, because that A sound is like, hey, bro, like Aesop's. No, it's just Aesop's. You have to say it like with a bit and put the Aesop's into it. So Aesop's tales when I was a child. Now I'm starting to sound like a narrator of books, and to be honest, like, I can't believe I'm actually speaking to the camera to this day, thanks to my old friend. But sincerely, I couldn't even talk to the camera, even when I was trying to practice songs on my guitar. I'm thinking, if I can just listen to myself, get better, do all that sort of stuff. I couldn't speak to a camera. I was never a public speaker, which is unfortunate, because back in the day when I was young and I was 16, I was actually an exchange student, believe it or not. Yeah. I started school early. I was always as much as a year, sometimes more, sometimes in between, younger than everyone in my class. And every teacher, well, everyone in the school, apart from my teacher, says, shouldn't we repeat him, hold him back for a year? And every teacher goes, no, no, I did not want him back in my class again. Because I was the little bit of a smart ass, I was actually a pretty mild kid, at least until I hit 11 or something, or 10. I used to look, there was always a couple of kids in the class who I thought of as the bad kids. Never ever thought of myself as that until, maybe 10 or 11. I realized, maybe I'm the bad kid. disruptive. But the thing was, I didn't show up to school saying the dog ate my homework, which one kid in my class actually did. This is long before The Simpsons and stuff. And I thought, that's pretty funny. He's obviously heard it somewhere, I think. But to use it, we were pretty strict and straight and all that sort of stuff. But I ended up becoming the class clown, mostly because, as you reach about 4th grade, I think it was, would have been about that. Whatever the case may be. So I'm only about 8, 9 maybe. Yeah, 9 would have been. And so when the teacher, who was a bit of a clown himself, would say something, I'd sort of whisper it to my desk mate. He'd sit in double desk with him, and I'd just say something like, blah, blah, blah. And he'd just turn out and say to the class, blah, blah, blah. And everyone would crack up laughing. I thought, hey, hang on, that's my joke. And it happened quite a lot. So eventually I started becoming that class clown and would yell it out for myself, but it took a long time. So long story short, was taught Laurie Shong. Hang on, Stort Laurie Shong. Yeah, that's correct. So Stort Laurie Shong. As I got older, I tended to age a bit and got bigger and stuff. And sorry about that. I'm just being me. This is actually more fun without bottling beers because I'm not getting distracted by it. So anyway, as I got older and older, and no teacher would have me back. They all refused because they basically knew I could do my stuff. Like, I was never, well, in some subjects perhaps I was the top of the class, but in any and every subject I was at least within the top 2 or 3, 5 max type of thing. Like, it was unusual because I hated making mistakes. Mathematics, I was freaking brilliant at. I loved it. And as soon as I got a concept, I couldn't write it down fast enough. That's how good I was at maths. And in English, I knew how to spell. I just maybe had a tiny, tiny little speech impediment when I was younger, and I couldn't say the difference between where and were. That one always got me. The H is like, is that were or where? And to this day, I'm still dyslexic over were and where, but if autocorrect doesn't get it for me, well, so be it. Let it go out into the where world. So I was pretty good at school. No teacher wanted me back. So at 16 years of age, I still had this year up my sleeve. One of my best mates at school, he turned 17 in May, and I turned 16 in June. So he's more than a year older than me. And he almost did the thing as well, become an exchange student, but for whatever reasons he didn't do it. But I ended up doing it and went to California. Yeah, I could do a whole rant on just that experience alone, but I'm not going to. All I'm going to do is just say I went to California, I spent a year there, I turned 17 there, and I came back home to Australia. And I've spent most of my life here in Australia ever since. A couple of visits to New Zealand, a couple of visits to the Philippines, stopovers in Singapore or Hong Kong or whatever. But I've not seen a great lot of the world, but I have seen enough, and I know enough. And to wrap up where I was going with this rant is, don't do drugs, people, because you will not have a clue what the fuck you were talking about when you started talking about it. And I am proof of that, so therefore, don't do it. See? Simple. What the fuck was I talking about? Anybody know? Can you let... Oh, hang on, I'm not going live because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, damn it. Come on, people. Get me 1,000 subscribers. Make a fake account. Do something. I only need another like 30 or 25 or something stupid like that. And then we could sitting here reading live while I'm having a beer. And hey, you'd be saying, yeah, Iron Horse, you idiot. You was talking about when you was like a child and read about Aesop's fables and stuff. And you go, oh yeah, that's right. The boy who cried wolf. That's an Aesop's fable. Which does make me wonder. Should we pronounce it Aristophanes? Since he was Greek, living in Egypt. No, it wasn't in Egypt, was he? He was in Syracuse? Alexandria? There's so many places that were once called Alexandria, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. But anyway, while we're on the topic of Eratosthenes, let's just throw that out there for a second. By Eratosthenes, you fucking moron. Not even worth talking about. This is the most stupidest thing we've been convinced was a scientific thing. Like, a guy measured a shadow of a stick here, and at the same time, on the same day, he knew that way over there, 325 camels' days travel away, on that same day, there was no shadow cast down a well, and therefore, because he could measure how many distances a camel caravan could travel in a day, he worked out that the angle of the shadow of the stick he was looking at was at just enough distance to calculate the circumference of the globe. Oh shit, there you go, Eratosthenes in a nutshell. Although there are many, many versions of it, of course, you know, like some say it's 2 shadows of sticks, some say they're done on the same day, but no, it was known when he was in, was it Alexandria or Syene? One or the other. Hey, Skip. Don't call me nuts. I'm perfectly capable of doing that myself, thank you very much. Pretty sure it was in Alexandria. One of the Alexandrias. Which one is not known, but it was definitely one of them, because it couldn't be 2 of them, could it? That on... And here it gets even more tricky. Was it the summer solstice? Was it the equinox? Was it... Because to understand the exact day of the year, back in the day when time was measured by shadows of sticks, we had to let that one out, didn't we? Then... Holy gosh darn it, as Ned Flanders might have said, only he didn't, because he'd be something else. So this one place, allegedly Alexandria, I haven't seen her channel in ages either. She was pretty cool. Kind of miss her in a way. Allegedly Alexandra. Yeah. It was said that when you looked down the well, there was no shadow cast. So like you put your head over it, well, your head would cast a shadow, wouldn't it? But the walls of the well would all be lit simultaneously, or somewhat unlit, because the light was parallel going directly down the well. But you would cast your own shadow down it, because you'd be blocking the sun the minute you looked over the edge. You know, how much of the globe has ever thought about this? There was no shadow cast down the well. Well, hang on a second. If you were looking down the well, there would be a shadow cast because it'd be coming from you looking into it. So there would be a shadow cast. And if there wasn't, that would still tell you that the angle of the sun was actually hitting at... It still wouldn't work. It would still only light one of the walls. But anyway, that is one tooth, 50% of the Eratosthenes argument. Oh, pardon me. I don't think I've got enough beer in my gut. I know what it is. That's right. Never mind. I've got enough beer in my gut. Now, and in a few minutes we'll expel some more gas because, you know, high pressure always goes to low pressure. That's why we burp. So thank goodness I've got a good system that can control all that sort of stuff. But I've really got to bottle this beer. So now we're at a bit of a, what shall we call it? We'll call it a phenomenon. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Don't do that, man. Don't you do that. Every time people hear phenomenal, they're going to just get that freaking tune into their head because we were all brainwashed with Sesame Street when we were children. Phenomenal. So sorry about that. But now when you watch serious videos and the serious man goes, and what about this phenomenon? And here we go, I better get some more beer into me. So rightio, let's brainstorm. Because I'm not going live, this will be interesting. Let's see if the hive mind can pick up on my request for how am I going to get this beer proboscis into my bottle to pour the beer, because that pour won't do it. It just sprays it out like a garden hose. How am I going to get it to work in a short amount of time? Because we don't, like, you know, it's 2023, man. We're running out of time. I got to be up early in the morning and go to work, so I've got to do a lot of sobering up between then and now, or now and then, actually. If I did between then and now, that'd be like going backwards in time. I'd have to do it between now and then, for sure. Didn't you know back in the day I used to be a time traveller? Yeah, that's right. I haven't got there yet. Just come back and tell you. But when I get there and tell you what happens, it'll be quite amusing. Well, actually, no, it'll be a bit disturbing. But funny. Phenomenon. Okay, so well, in 4043, somebody actually suggested that I melt the plastic in the flame of the candle, and they said that they took this from the Akashic record back in ancient Egypt times, is also at the same time melt some wax. And if you do all that at the same time and then jam it up there in that cold hard steel metal freaking hole, which won't accept it, is eventually after about the 5th time you will get it. So, you know, if you got something else to do while I sit here and melt plastic, and it's going to take 5 attempts. You can actually can hear the wax burning off it. It's pretty cool. It's like that sound you get when you're doing ear waxing. Crackle, crackle. All right, well, I think without any further ado, we should just get straight into number 2. What do you reckon? Before we start a bonfire. Get up there, get up there, get up there. No. Anyway, like, we can see the progress we're making here, like the sculpting. I have a feeling that cold hard plastic just isn't gonna do it, and now that's set into cold hard plastic again. Look at that. Can you imagine trying to I know what we can do. I'll show you what we can do. What we can do. Let's get that bit of stuff. What? I just had a bit of stuff on my tongue. Can you believe that? Oh man, I forgot what it's like to be stoned. This is actually really nice. I'll tell you what we can do. We'll pause this video. Oh man, fuck it. Let's just have a beer. Rightio, now we have no choice but to pause this video so we can get another beer and rethink our strategy. This is some pretty important stuff. Like, this is not the sort of thing you want to think about the day of your beer bottling process. Like, that's why I thought I had it sorted yesterday. I thought, yeah, I got this. I'll just melt the plastic so well that when I jam it up there, it will. Obviously it didn't work. I've got 2 beers bottled and I've got like 80 or 90 to go. It's going to be a long, long night. Holy crap, the phone nearly bloody died on me. You can't do that in the middle of a video. If the phone dies, I'll have to start a whole new other video, and then I've got to learn how to edit and shit. So I chopped it off, I ground it down, and now I'm going to melt it. So this will be attempt number 3. Apparently it takes 5 and I have to wait till 40:23 or some shit. No, what is it? 40:43. Ridiculous, but anyway, when you're a stone nutter, you just have to make up shit on the run. Jam it there and get it fixed hard. Come on. Fix hard. It's not the type of tap designed to be fixed hard by the look of it. It's just one of those like taps that just wants to be one of those things you can't say on social media. And you know what you didn't do? You didn't even get another beer. Alright. It's getting serious. Serious? Hang on a second. If we use the scissors, because they rhyme with serious, and expand it back out again, and then jam it up again. Let's try number 3, so that's good. Means I've only got 2 more to go. Let's see how this one goes. Cross the fingers. It's working. It's a bit slow. I'm going to turn the volume up. So, oh, it actually worked. Okay. So from this we can extrapolate that attempt number 3 is temporarily working. And we're going to bottle it because we don't want to tempt fate. That would be like tempting fate. And I'm not in the mood for fermenting Tate. Oh, shit. I was going to pause and get another beer, which that could be tempting fate. Let's just bottle the number 4 before we go anywhere. And then if it comes off, then we know. Iron Horse, what have you done here? What have you done? You're crazy. You might actually be able to get back onto the rant you came in to do, so because what was the question? I will get back to it because I know it's Aesop's Fables. My grandmother. There was another thing and another thing and another thing. I will come back, and if I can't believe I'm able to be actually looking past 41, but if you do, then you will see that other stuff. Man, my job just came up too. Thanks for the reminder. Thank you, Job. Thank you. I appreciate having an income so that I can do stuff and live and have a shower and have beer and water and electricity and can drink the candle straight from the flame. I'll never do that. That's not one thing I would do. But we'll be back. Whew, all right, so I'm back. From outer space, I'm high, I'm from outer space, I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm working on a version of that, don't worry. Yeah, it's mad, you know, you get back into the kitchen, it's like, oh shit, that's right, I'm also making bread rolls. I've got a bit of a roast veggie tray happening, which I've put on low heat so I can bottle this beer, because I know it can take a couple of hours sometimes. And I guess my recording device only goes so long. Right, what I'll do now, save a bit of time, I'll just keep bottling as we go. Yeah, so, happy days. We're back in business, we're bottling. Ooh. I'm going to be super careful with it because it's a little bit delicate, but a little bit of wax on it was actually a good idea. I think it's because silicone would take like hours to set. I was thinking, you know, like I try to avoid using silicone on my food-based stuff, but it's fairly neutral. So, the trouble is, man, when you put on something wet, if you don't wait like 24 hours for it to set, it's just a recipe for disaster. So, this is pure gold now. This is what I've been waiting for all night, so I could start ranting, because, you know, at least I'm being productive, not wasting time sitting there talking the shit. And I don't even know why I brought up the thing about going to the States. Is 16, just turned 16, come home just after turning 17, other than the fact that what? Come on, man. I nearly said Roscoe. because that's the name I used to be known by back then. Other than what, Roscoe? But now I have to call myself Iron Horse because it's the designated term I've chosen to use. Oh man, that's good for the back. I feel better. I should have waited for 2 more anyway. Who's counting? Who? Why are you counting? Oh, it's Doctor. The TARDIS. Doctor Who. Hey. Doctor Who. Hey. The TARDIS. Which is kind of interesting because these days now people are calling each other tards. But the time and relative dimensions in space machine. Oh shit, did I say too much? It's how we Time Lords do time travel. And that's the thing that most people are missing out on, is that key word. It's not bendy or warped space-time, which is what the gravitons, I nearly call them, the globe heads, the gravitons. I think that's a good name for them, actually. Gravitons, gravitrons, gravimetric. Yeah, we got to be kind to our globe believers, actually. I strongly believe in kindness being the best medicine. And if I look like an absolute hypocrite for saying that about the globe tards, the globe, the people that still believe we live on a spinning ball in outer space, well, guilty as charged. Fuck 'em. Fuck 'em. Oh man, that's not so good. I might have to say it one more time. The fuck are them? Up at the arse. We've thine fine. Bottle of glass. A fuck are them? Sorry, but you know, sometimes, honestly, shit, fuck, shit. Sometimes you have to just swear. And I'm not even on the Bible. But anybody's made it to this 48, hang on, 33 minute second thingy time, space continuum. Rest assured, I'm going to drop a few Easter eggs before the night is through, because there is actually a purpose to why I started making this rant, and it mostly had to do with brewing beer. But nobody, actually, bottling, sweet. Let's get this other packet I prepared earlier. I had more than one fish in there. Come on, you little kappa. Hey, hey, the Cripple Creek Ferry, about through the overhanging trees. Make way for the Cripple Creek Ferry, the water's going down. box down. Second box to go. Rightio. Now we're bottling with beer. Hang on, we're always... Never, I don't like seeing that much freaking bathroom ceiling. See if I can adjust the camera. It's not entirely great, but bloody hell, if you're going to watch my video and listen to me ranting and talking and about to spill the beans on some pretty major truth, then I think it's probably best if you're not looking at the ceiling of my bathroom and hear what I'm going to say. Because, god damn, what the... That ain't a clear, sterilised, clean bottle. That's a piece of shite, mate. The fuck? I got a box full of... Yuck. Okay, so the beer bottling will have to be put on hold again. Under memento, because I'm pretty sure they're clean. Oh, mate. See, this is what happens when you try and live off-grid for a little while, but you don't have running water. And then you finally, after about 18 months, get out of that rut you're in and you start renting a place with a bathroom and a shower and running water and a kitchen where you can cook stuff in and all the lurks and perks of living in a house again, is that some of the bottles that you might have rescued from your last place, which you'd already bottled beer in and didn't really have a means of rinsing out in the meantime, while you're just going through your phase, it means that yeah, some of them are pretty fucking shit. And they are far from... I must have brought them inside so that I could use the hot water sink to clean and sterilise and soak and do that sort of stuff. But because I didn't, thank goodness I noticed before I started putting beautiful, fresh, clean, sterile beer in the dirty, yucky, rotten, stinky bottles. This carpet down there is full of clean ones. I hope. Yes. You can tell straight away. Yes, these are... Oh, fucking hell. Some of these are clean and sterile. That one, on the other hand, if I find one more that's not, then the whole game is over. Ah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Dodgy. Fucking dodgy. So it's the year the bottles were made too. That's dodgy as... It'll do. It'll do, but it'll be the last time you used, because bloody hell. See, these ones are great. Whatever they did, they refined the process so that the interior of the bottle is smooth enough that it doesn't collect. Yeah, that's... You're borderline, mate. Borderline. So anyway, for one of my birthdays when I was a child, my grandmother, who we called Nana, even though with later grandchildren she preferred to be called Granny, to us she was always Nana, so we can't really change that. But she was actually of a bit of French descent. For anyone that gives a shit about what country of origin you were, she was of somewhat French descent, and my grandfather married her. Dude, debonair. Should have seen him, suit and tie and hat. That's how people used to dress back in the day. And if you look at old footage, even of people like in cities and stuff, even the bums were still dressed in half decent pants and stuff. It's just interesting to see the way we've changed throughout history. But anyway, my nana, she was just always the best. She remembered the birthdays of all of her grandchildren. You would at least get a card. And when I was young enough, you get that little bit special. You get a book. She loved books. Whenever we went to visit her, which was every school holidays, spent all my school holidays out there on the farm. It'd be books. You could watch Doctor Who. We got the ABC out there. That's Australian Broadcasting Corporation. They'd give us ABC. The ABC would give us Doctor Who and the goodies of an evening, 6 o'clock from memory, because they came on prior to the news, which is always 7 o'clock. It's the news now. The adults have to sit down and take over television. Yeah, we got to watch the goodies. Goody, yum, yum. And Doctor Who. Anyway. So, that was my childhood. Out in the bush. When you're a kid, small things amuse small minds. I'll be the first to admit to that. Every Sunday evening, I would run to the television at about 5 or 6 p.m. Disneyland, whoa. Disney's on, and we'd sit down for our brain hypnotism session. But for some reason, I don't even know why, we just looked forward to it. And I was actually the second generation of that stuff too. But maybe not so much my parents, because yeah, if we go there, we'll be here all night. But my mother's family, who she was the eldest of like about 9 children, when we go to her place, on the other hand, her parents' place, the books on the wall would be filled with lots of things like Disney stories. And don't get me wrong, I love them too, my aunties. Read some great stuff, Brer Rabbit and all that kind of stuff. And I'd always be like, the Tar Baby story. I love the Tar Baby story. I don't know why. We're getting way off track here, Roscoe. What are you doing? You're winding it back to your paternal grandmother, Nana, who would give you gifts of books every year. So one of the books she gave me once, actually, and I have to admit, to this day I haven't read. So, I'm a bit naughty that I didn't read every gift. In fact, I can think of another one as well, but we'll get to that later. No, we won't. The Picture of Dorian and Gray. She gave me that as a hardcover one time, and I started reading it, and it was interesting, but I never finished it. And the other one was The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, C.S. Lewis, and I didn't ever read that either. I started, but I'm one of those people, when I start a book, if it makes me keep turning the pages, I will finish it. And if for some reason it doesn't, I won't. And I have a feeling that both of those books may have been sort of heavily influenced, because my nana, she was into the arts and the art gallery and all sorts of stuff. Obviously literature. So from her perspective, she probably thought she was giving me something that was relevant for my time. The Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe, which, as we know, is all about Narnia. And to this day, you actually still get a lot of Globers will say, called Flat Earth Narnia Land or something like that. So the thing is, I never read it. I wouldn't really know. I read it enough, like a little bit, a few chapters, whatever, to kind of know what it's about. I possibly even saw some of the movies with some of my kids and that sort of stuff, but I'm pretty sure I've always kept my cap on straight, as in my head. And so because I thought, I'm really not happy with that bottle. It's really dark glass. That's one thing Coopers did well, but yeah, you can see, because I got the candle behind, I don't know if you can see. It's full of, it's like a one for the recycle bin. These ones, because they're clear enough to be able to see. Gosh, that one's a bit nasty too. I think that one needs a soak in the hot tub. Smells like pretty good glass. I completely lost my track of thought. Sniffing glass. Can you believe it? Sniffing glass. If you see stains in it, don't use it. Simple as that. Oh my god. Don't tell me they're filling all these ones up without looking. Yeah, that one's fine. Right, yeah, so now that we've been going for an hour and 2 minutes and 50 something, fucking hell. That was dumb. What you do not do is start filling your bottle and look at the camera and lose track of time, because shit happens. Now I'm going to have to drink some of that. I don't want to put my lips on it because that might contaminate it with lip juice. So we just pour X amount out, and that's exactly X, and we're good to go. Whew, that was close. In fact, I might even put a little X on that. If anybody wants to buy this one, I'll hold a raffle, and for $1 ticket, I'll put your name in a hat and this one with the X on it. Whoever's name will draw out a hat can send me some money for postage and handling and the cost of the bottle and the cost of the beer, and I'll give it to you for free. No strings attached. Isn't that, yeah, come on, God, laugh. Oh, it's a pale ale, man. It's worth every cent. X marks the bottle. All right, before I venture down into spirituality, which is what the whole point of this video was in the first place, which you obviously know because you're still here listening. If you weren't still here listening, then you would know that this is just a stupid drunken rant video of a bloke who is struggling to bottle his beer, get caps out of the plastic bag and cap each one. You would know that if it was just that little bit higher would be good. Yeah. Stabbed and delivered. Clean. I think this is why people get stoned, actually, because you can lose your track of thought and it doesn't matter, but whatever else you think of next is still like, oh, yeah, man, fuck me. So cool. So we can just jump from topic to topic. The truth is, back in the day, my nana gave me a book. And if I'm just checking the Akashic record, I can't remember exactly, but it was for my birthday. I think it was when I was turning 8. The drip says correct. Which was an unfortunate year for me. That's when my favourite uncle died from brain tumours. So I loved him like a brother. He was just So the year of turning 8 was a bit hard for me. Because of various things, but I did get given the book of Aesop's Fables. And being a bright young child that I was, I read it backwards and forwards and backwards, and I read it multiple times, and I'd almost memorized every single one of them. And basically it's a book about morals, about and some of them, you know, like, they're still open for question. But it was a book of morality. You know, like the boy who cried wolf. You know, he's bored. He cries wolf. I've got a brain tumor. Sort of thing. And then when he actually does have a wolf, well, no one's going to listen to him. So that type of thing. It was like, yeah, well, don't cry wolf unless there's a wolf, in which case, yeah. So anyway, there's one in particular. You know, I'm just travelling back through childhood here. There's one in particular about a man who hears about sea salt, because salt's in certain places inland, especially when you travel by donkey and camel. Sea salt could reach a high price. And so this man heard about it and decided that while the salt was cheap by the sea, he would take his donkey. I'm sure you've all heard this, so you know, I'm not telling you anything new. Take his donkey, loaded him up with salt, two big bags of salt either side of a pack, and thought, you know, he's going to make some decent funds out of this. Yeah, that's right, left that one there. So as they're travelling through the mountain pass, there became a narrow spot, and he's trying to walk his donkey through slowly and steadily, but the donkey loses its footing and it falls down the edge of the ravine, and when it gets into the water, it's carrying a heavy load of salt. It gets into the water and he's struggling for breath, but slowly, because the salt dissolves into the water, and his load got lighter and lighter, and he managed to get afloat again, and the trader's happy. He got his donkey back, and as he's walking home, the donkey goes, "Oh, this is so much better. It's so much lighter. I might have to do that again." And so, of course, the trader does the same trip again the following year when the salt is cheap. And the donkey remembers how much lighter his load was, because, it's so heavy. And so he remembers, this is the place where I fell into the ravine. And if I do that again, the rest of the trip home, I'll be so much lighter. So naturally, the donkey, being an intelligent creature, decides to do that. He does that. And the trader now is getting a little bit peeved. He's a little bit annoyed. He thinks, I have a feeling that the donkey might be onto this. So the next season, he goes back to the sea, and instead of buying loads of salt, he decides to load him up with big bags of sponges. And as they're travelling home, the donkey goes, "Oh, well, I remember, this light is pretty low, actually." Light is pretty low? Did you just say that? You just said that. This load is pretty light. But I know from previous experience, when I get to this part through the mountains, if I fall into the ravine again, it'll be even lighter again. And so as he gets there, he accidentally stumbles and he falls into the water, and the sponges start soaking up all the water and drown the donkey. And so the moral of the story is just fucking carry a load, man. Just do what you got to do. I think. I forget. But the moral of my story, the reason why I'm telling this one, is because I remembered all my Aesop's fables so well that when we were given it as a subject in school, the teacher says, well, okay, you have to pick a fable and rewrite it in your own words. And was it rewrite it in your own words? I don't know if it was. Because if you're rewriting it in your own words, that destroys the point of my story. Anyway, the point is you had to rewrite it and tell it as a fable. And so when I told it in my own words, like I didn't consult the book at all because I just knew it so well, I just remembered clearly that the words that the book used was, when the donkey fell into the water, the salt melted away. Okay, melted away. And I used that exact term in my retelling of the story in my own words, so to speak. And when I got it back from the teacher, she didn't like it. She was like, she'd crossed out melted away and wrote dissolved in her red ink. And I was like, okay, yeah, that works. Dissolved is a good word, but melted away is the same thing. And so then I went back to my book of the Aesop's Fables and read it, and it specifically said melted away. And so now I'm going to lead to the part 2 of that tale, which has nothing to do with the reason for me making this video. It's going to take all night to load up and probably flatten the battery on my phone, but who cares, man? It's Sunday and we're popping a beer. Just just get some more bottles. Let me see. Magic of hang on, pause, rewind. But do that stuff. Okay, so that was a little bit more than a sec. I was about to say magic of video, and I wasn't even a sec, but I was. So yeah, part 2 of this, I think it's worth telling because I've never really told it before. But I've always been a highly what's the correct word for it? It's empathetic. That's the word for it. Yes, thank you. That's empathetic. I've always been highly empathetic towards people of indigenous cultures. But most of the time throughout my schooling, if we got given a project to have to do, you'd have to pick a culture or something. And for me, I always either picked Australian Aborigines or the Papua New Guineans, sometimes known as fuzzy wuzzies, and that's not a racist term, so they will call themselves that. But yeah, I love the Aboriginal culture. Like I say, where I grew up on my nana's property, it was her and grandpa obviously, but grandpa died when I was about 5. He was only about 65 and died of a heart attack, unfortunately. But growing up on that property, I had a great appreciation for the Aboriginal culture, and sometimes even using the word Aboriginal now, the most politically correct term back in my day is now, you can't call them that. And some of the ones you can't call them, or you should call them, or the ones you couldn't call them back then. Like you couldn't call them coons back then because the ones from Coonabarabran, that was racial. And you can't call them abos because that's racial. So yeah. You can call them Aborigines, but the more we start calling them Aborigines now, well, soon that's going to be racist. It's like, well, how far back do you go? So anyway, the thing is, I love their lore and their stories and their Dreamtime stories, and how they told a lot of different things about it. This came to be and that came to be. And so when it came to year 11, I believe it was, in high school, so it's not 11-year-olds, it's sort of like 15, 16 or 17 for most. We were given a task in class. We read a few of these traditional stories.